And thanks to everybody. I hope I'm not stopping you all from lunch here, so I'll make it quick. On the other hand, I'm a sales guy, right? A little bit of academia, but I'll make our presentation here fairly quickly and hope to get a little bit of interaction as well. Again, the purpose of my call here today is to share with you some of the technologies. Which one is it? This one here? Oh, this guy here? Okay.
One on the front. Those two there do backwards and forwards.
And you point it to, is it turned on?
Is it on? Yeah, there's a switch on the side of the thing.
No more.
Good side. Very top there.
Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. Thank you. We're a publicly traded company, Wescorp Energy. Been around for about 7 years. We have 4 different technology offerings within the organization, and my game plan today is to share with you some of the technology we have on the remediation side of the business. Our main focal point on remediation is the oil and gas side of the business today. Have we got any oil producers in the room here today? No? Okay. So, I'll just go here. The market that we're going after, Wescorp's, this company is called Total Fluid Solutions. We acquired the patent for this technology. It's a mechanical process back, it'll be 2 years in December. And what it's focused to is to help solve some of the problems in the produced water market. The produced water market is larger than the oil market itself. Many of the oil companies out there see themselves really as water producers versus oil producers. And wherever there is oil or gas, there's water. The byproduct's called produced water. And David, you would know that from up in being from Syncrude. Size of the market is 3 times the size. Currently, the world produces and consumes about 90 million barrels of oil a day, and it produces about in excess of 250 million barrels of produced water. So it's a very, very, very large market. And in that market, there's very large competitors, companies like Xeon and Siemens. You've got Veolia. There's lots of different players in the market today, and there's a variety of different technologies in the market today to help the producers deal with their produced water market. We believe that we have a technology that we have proven in the market. We've worked with the Alberta Research Council. We've worked with University of Calgary. We've worked with Olds College. We've worked with CTAC. And we have proven our patented technology to work in helping to remove hydrocarbons from the produced water. Again, the size of the market, it's global. Wherever there's oil, there's water. It doesn't make a difference where you're producing, whether it's shallow or deep, on land, off land, offshore, there's always water to deal with. Why are we in the market? We think that there's huge opportunities for us to help cut some of the operational expenses on the market itself. And many producers will tell you on average that they could spend as high as $12 per barrel of oil to deal with their produced water. Produced water is in the formation. It's typically very heavily saline, 3 to 4 times, maybe even 10 times more saline than seawater. And those producers have really got 2 options to deal with that water. They can either dispose of it down a disposal well, many of you have heard of a disposal well, or they take that water and they re-inject it back into the formation and re-stimulate oil production or gas production. On an offshore application, there's government regulations. If they can get the water down to specific parts per million, they can discharge that water into the open sea. But in most cases, they're actually processing or transporting that water to land and processing the water on land. Huge market, huge, huge market. The points in here speak a little bit about some of the costs that are associated with the produced water market itself. The very last one is called a treatment, recovery, disposal. That's a third-party waste company. Some small producers end up having to take their water to a third-party handler, and the cost can be extremely high in that area. So what do? The picture on the left is a beautiful Canadian winter shot. That's actually our unit, the silver building there, that's our unit. We have a mechanical process that is fully scalable, it's patented, it's patent processed. And that is actually at a site just west of the city of Edmonton here at an EOG facilities. Just actually Highvale is where it was. And that facilities had 120 well production facilities. Plant was about 30 years old. And we were taking the water stream from those silver tanks, which they would normally take that water. They had a free water knockout system. They would put the water, retain it in the tanks, and then they would inject it down the disposal wells. they were running into a high degree of costs associated with disposing of that water. That came in the form of power consumption by driving bigger triplex pumps to force the fluid down. It came in the operational costs, labor components. They used filtration. They were down to 2 or 3 or 400 micron filters to filter out those, and they were continually having to change the filters. So it's a cost issue for that specific producer. The other side is you may have heard of well workovers or frac jobs in the oil industry. A well workover is taking a disposal well that's actually now clogged and actually sending in a workover crew to come in and to acidize or clean that well out so it can now take more fluid. Those costs could be $50,000, $60,000 per service incident to do a well workover. And it could happen annually, it could happen biannually, it could happen. But the key is that what we do is we provide the producer with water that is hydrocarbon free. So if you were to take the analogy, if you were to take salad dressing, which is oil and vinegar, and you were to pour it down your drain of your home and do that continually, eventually you're going to end up calling in the plumber to clean out your drain. And principally that's what happens when the producer puts in his produced water back into the formation that is laden with hydrocarbons. He creates a clogging effect in the wellbore, and he creates some lack of production in his formation itself. So that's what we do. The unit is scalable, and the picture on the right here is showing the inner workings of it. It's a mechanical process. So we achieve the separation through using nano or micro technology, through creating a micronic bubble in the fluid stream. So we are principally, the science creates the separation. The technology can be very massive. I met last week with the people in Calgary at Apache. They were telling me about an incident or a situation they have in the North Sea where they're producing 80,000 barrels of oil off 4 production facilities, and they're producing 800,000 barrels of water. And so their cost, just even to process the water, is massive. And so they were asking us about how does our process work? We do create the separation through using a distributed airflow, a micronic bubble in our technology, and a centrifugal approach. So it basically, we introduce the fluid into the tank, we basically spin it, we add a distributed airflow, and the small micronic bubble attaches to the oil droplet in the fluid and creates it to lift and creates a separation. We also can separate solids, sediments, and silts as well in our process up to a certain degree. So we think the market, we're going after the produced water market, we think the market is even larger than where we want to go. And again, we're a very new company, and we wanted to target one specific area to go to where we could be successful. So the advantages are, obviously, the producer can actually reuse that water for well stimulation. They can increase the well, and we've heard this from the geologist side of the business. If you're putting cleaner fluids into the formation, you're going to increase the life cycle of the formation itself. And many of you are aware that there's a lot of oil still suspended in formations that are out there today. We can help them recover some of those oils. The biggest thing that we focus on is the operational savings. And I've been educated that wells are like children. They're all uniquely different. There are no 2 wells that are exactly the same. So we look at the characteristics of the well or the formation, or work with the geologists and the engineers, and we design our specific technologies to fit within the plant that they have. But our main focus is to help cut down on the operation expenses. And in some cases, we've been able to provide a recoverable oil. We're working out by the Lloydminster area, and in those specific incidences, the customer, the water they were putting in their formation, we were saving them 20 to 30 barrels of oil production per day. So they got an increase in their production levels. So it varies to who you are and where you're at.